Hello, my friends. Thank you very much for joining us tonight for another edition of Spiritism, a closer look. You are on Kardec Radio. I'm Luiz Lima. Tonight, broadcasting from the city of Porto in Portugal. Nice city, by the way. Tonight, we're going to take a closer look at traits of the Spiritist character. It's an interesting topic. We're going to start by saying that in the book Gospel According to Spiritism, that's on chapter 17, the title of the chapter is Be Perfect. So Allan Kardec goes over, several different things. It picks up a broad arrangement of information. And one of the things it says is this. I'm just going to read it to you as is. True Spiritists are recognized by their moral transformation and the efforts they make to overcome their evil inclinations. So it's an attempt to actually define what true Spiritists are. So this is a plain definition. Again, Gospel According to Spiritism, written and published in 1864. Later on, after even way after Allan Kardec's passing, a lot of Spiritist literature comes to our hands through different mediums in different places, in different countries, and different times. And one of them is Spirit André Luiz, which publishes most of his work through the hands of medium Chico Xavier in Brazil. Not all of it, but 90-some% through this particular medium in Brazil. And there is a message by this spirit, André Luiz, which was actually published in a book called The Spiritist Path or The Spiritist Way. And the message has a title, and the title of the message is The Traits of the Spiritist Character. What happens is he's going to take this whole idea of what a true Spiritist is, and is going to go at length, deep into evaluating what that could be. So this message expands the original words of Allan Kardec at the time, Gospel According to Spiritism. So this message is composed of 20 phrases, or we could even say 20 sayings, very short, each one of them. And they are all these 20 sayings or phrases are very similar to punchlines. It is a very, very interesting message that we are going to go through them right now. So 20 sayings. So let's get started. Saying number 1, humility without subservience. Again, the Spirit André Luiz is trying to define the traits of the Spiritist character. So number 1, humility without subservience. What is that exactly? Well, we all know about humility, and Jesus was one who came to actually show how to practice this. He did in front of our eyes, actually. And there's a limit to this humility. It might seem a little strange because you cannot really cross the line into being a slave, which that would be different. You can be a slave and not humble, and you can be humble and not a slave. So that's what the message is about, being humble, but without subservience, not becoming a slave, just being humble, doing humble things, practicing humility as Jesus portrayed to us. Saying number 2, Dignity without pride. That's an interesting one, especially on our days in the current affairs of humanity, we could say. Pride is not a requirement for dignity. You will never be. You was never. However, a lot of people think that to have, a dignifying life, you have to, show all these proud side of you. You have to just be this pride person, and that would translate into having a dignifying life. No, there is pride is not a requirement for dignity. You can have a dignifying life, doing things, serving, being a certain person in a certain way without pride. Phrase number 3, devotion without attachment. Another interesting one. Devotion, let's like things, let's love things, not necessarily material things, people too. Let's devote our time, our love to what's available in this world. However, we cannot totally be attached to these things or even to these people. We have to have our limits. Number 4, joy without excess. Of course, we like to have joy all the time. However, joy is not the only thing in life. There are other things which are incredibly important, such as work on ourselves, work on making the world better. So work, serving, praying, learning, all of these things are important. So if all we think about is joy, we are gonna have trouble allocating time to do these other things. That's why joy without excess. Joy, yes, but without excess. Phrase number 5, freedom without license. License here in the sense of permission. To be free, to feel this freedom, you don't need permission. It's not necessary to obtain permission to be free as a spirit. Free will is a gift that we were given by the Creator. All humans have free will. We don't have to get permission for that. We just have to be, smart on how to use it, so we don't use it the wrong way, which we're going to have to offset at a certain point in time in the future. Number 6, firmness without petulance. Firmness, you can be firm, you can do things right, you can you can have this discipline in doing things, in putting things together. However, petulance is not necessary. Stepping on people is not what makes you firm. You can be firm without stepping on people, without hurting people, without going against, head to head against people. Number 7, faith without exclusivism. And that's a very important one. Different people have different belief systems. You have your faith, all of us, we have faith, even those who are atheists, they have their own share of faith. Materialists, they have their share of faith. So we all have our faith, depending on belief system. However, we need to allow other people to have theirs. It doesn't mean that because I am Spiritist, everybody has to be, and those who are not, I'm going to be converting all the time, picking one by one, trying to convert. No, faith without exclusivism. Number 8, reasoning without harshness. Interesting. Reasoning, you have this reasoning, but you can and you should be flexible. Otherwise, your way of doing things, your way of reasoning is right and everybody else is wrong. That's not true. That's not a trait of the Spiritist character. Reasoning without harshness, being inflexible, is not correct. It's not right. Number 9, feeling without sentimentality. Of course, we feel things, different things, sometimes good things, sometimes bad things. However, we don't have to force acting on these things and dragging those feelings and making a big fuss out of it. You just feel things, and that's part of life. That's it. You feel this. In a couple hours, you're gonna be feeling something else. That's it. There's no need to this force act on promoting what you're feeling. Number 10, charity without presumption. A lot of times we want to do charity, the simplest form of charity, like somebody is asking for money, and they're hungry. At least they say they're hungry, so you want to give them some money, so they can buy food or something. Just go to a restaurant, buy a sandwich, whatever it is. And sometimes, instead of just giving that money, we go like this. This is the inner dialogue. The inner dialogue. I would like to help this person. However, if I get him this money, what guarantees me that he's going to take the money and buy drugs and buy alcohol and do other things? So this is presumption. You're assuming the person could be doing something else. That is no longer charity. Because charity is, you're hungry, here's some money, go buy some food. If it doesn't, it's not your call. It's theirs. Number 11, generosity without waste. Of course, we want to be generous and, give things and share things and, but without waste. Just like we said here now, you want to give somebody, some food, buy a sandwich and give to somebody who is hungry. If you buy one sandwich and give to that person, that's fine, that's nice. But if you buy 10 sandwiches at a time, it's going to be a waste. So, we need to balance things out. Generosity without waste. Number 12, knowledge without vanity. You don't need, none of us, we don't need recognition from other people about our knowledge. If we know, we know. That's it, period. We don't have to be promoting our knowledge in order to hear people recognizing, oh, you're great, you know a lot. Why? If they tell me you know a lot, it doesn't make me know more. And if they don't tell me you know a lot, it doesn't make me know less. So it's irrelevant. This is one of the traits of the Spiritist character. Knowledge without vanity. 13, cooperation without requirement. Cooperation, collaboration. This is typical of the message of Jesus, working together on things, marching towards the same goals, trying to do the same thing. However, without requirement. You're not doing this because, oh, if I do this, I'm going to have some benefit. It's not a return on investment. That's different. Cooperation without requirement. 14, respect without flattery. Of course, we all like respect. We like to be respected, and we should respect people by the same token. Respect is intransitive. It's not conditional. You don't respect people because this and this, or that and that. You just have to respect people the same way you are expected. You expect to be respected by other people. 15, value without ostentation. What you are worth, what you are, you and I, myself included, what we are worth doesn't have to be spoken out loud to the world. It doesn't. No ostentation. There's a value that I attach to somebody. That's it. That's my opinion. I think I'm worth this and that. Okay, that's my opinion about myself. It doesn't have to become this ostentation, this thing that we live on 24 hours a day. And no, nothing like this. 16, courage without temerity or recklessness. You see, this comes in, that's where faith comes in place. Courage without recklessness. If you have your faith, if you believe something, you have a belief system, there's a faith that attaches to that belief system. You just have to have courage based on your faith, without temerity. You believe in this thing, that's it. The Spiritists believe in certain things, and that's it. Christians believe in, Catholics and evangelicals. We all believe in different things, and that's it. So, courage, yes, based on our faith. 17, justice without intransigence. You see, we all are subject to judge things the wrong way. We might not be as good as a judge as we think of ourselves. We might not have all the facts and all the parameters that are necessary to understand and take conclusions about a person, a situation. We don't. We are not omnipotent. We are not omnipresent. So we don't know all of it. We don't know everything. So our sense of justice could be wrong, thus without intransigence. I can say, this is what I think, this is what I believe, I've investigated or thought about it, and this is what I believe. However, other people might have different opinions because they know other things, other facts about the same subject that I don't know. So I can be this, living this intransigence. 18, admiration without envy. Admiration, yes, but without envy. Envy defies admiration. It goes against. If you admire a person, just be happy that they are who they are. Just praise them. Just, praise so they can be better in what they do. Now, if I bring envy out of my inner soul, that goes against myself. And it defies admiration because admiration becomes this this face that I'm putting out, and it's not what it is really. So envy defies admiration. 19. Optimism without illusion. That goes back to faith, to be optimism, to, things are going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to be good, I believe in this thing, I'm going to, work to get this thing done towards this particular goal, I'm going to help people so we can do this together. Yes, but without illusion. And that's what in Spiritism we usually say reasoning faith. Faith, yes, but bring your reason into it. You can't just say, I'm going to win the lotto tomorrow morning, but I'm not in the mood to play. I don't want to buy a ticket. This is optimism that you're going to, hit the lotto tomorrow morning. But come on. Without illusion, no. Reasoning faith. You're optimistic because you're going to do this, you're going to get that, but it requires work, it requires action on our part so we can get that done or work towards that goal. So last one, number 20. Peace without laziness. Peace without laziness. That's the idea of being on a desert island. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. I want to be in peace, completely in peace. So I just moved to a desert island and I become this laziest person ever. There's nothing to be done. There's nothing for me to do, to learn, to improve. Total laziness. That's not peace. That's not peace. So peace without laziness. Peace means acquire more knowledge so you can be a better person, more in line with what has been taught by Jesus. Well, that's number 20 and the last one. Peace without laziness. So all these little, I call punchlines in the beginning, and I think they are, that's my personal opinion. All these punchlines define, Spirit André Luiz define what the message title is, Traits of the Spiritist Character. And again, one phrase that summarized all of this is by Allan Kardec on Gospel According to Spiritism, chapter 17, called Be Perfect. And that is, true Spiritists are recognized by their moral transformation and the efforts they make to overcome their evil inclinations. So let's, all of us work together on ourselves to be better people, improve ourselves so we improve others, and others improve even more people, and that's how humanity gets better, by each one of us getting better, being better people, and following these or seeking these traits of the Spiritist character. So thank you very much for being with us tonight on this short talk about the traits of the Spiritist character. Spiritism, A Closer Look will be back here on Wednesday. We do this every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So thank